Hi guys, Rod Baum, Mid North Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Welcome to my channel. You probably heard the saying food for thought before, which means that some idea or some thought is worthwhile thinking about a bit deeper. Seeds for Eternity embraces this notion by presenting thoughts and experiences from people's lives that relate to the spiritual realities that we all face today. And so my prayer today is that you'll be blessed in what you see and what you hear on Seeds for Eternity. So here I am on my back deck looking over my front yard. I was here a few weeks back looking out and something caught my eye, and it reminded me of a saying, the grass is greener on the other side. Do you believe it? Come for a walk with me and we'll go have a look at some stuff. So here we are at our front fence, and as you can see, and you may have heard, the dryness, the brownness of the grass there. And as I look on the other side of the fence here, I can see lush green grass in comparison, and I can relate to whoever coined the saying, the grass is greener on the other side. I don't know about you, but I've suffered from the greener syndrome, and it can be diagnosed by observing our inner thoughts to the tune of other people or other places are more desirable than my current situation. And although this may be true at times, it can cause us to slip into the space of discontentment. Sometimes it's been hard for me to recognise this discontentment in my own life, but I've learned how to counteract it. I now know that every person has the ability to develop a different mindset, a mindset of identifying and appreciating the good things that surround us. I would consider it time well spent watering the grass on my side of the fence by developing appreciation for the good things that surround me. Is the grass really greener on the other side? Let's go to another location and have a look at it from a different perspective. So is the grass really greener on the other side? I'd like us to consider this question from a different point of view or a different perspective. This is the perspective of our worldviews. The Bible outlines two basic worldviews through its narrative of history and its prophetic voice. In the biblical worldview, we have a loving Creator who created the heavens and the earth for people to live on in harmony. In this worldview, the Bible tells us that a conflict started in heaven. Lucifer, an angel who once was in harmony with God, became discontent with his Creator's way of life. He started a rebellion in heaven and convinced a third of the angels to side up with him and to start a new way of life. Now known as Satan, he leads an army of demons to continue his warfare here on earth against God and God's creation. That's you and I. Primarily, this war is in the spiritual realm, but it spills out into our physical. The great controversy between good and evil revolves around principles or worldviews that govern the way we choose to live life. To keep it short, we can either choose to live our lives in harmony with our Creator, or we can choose to live our lives in harmony with Satan. This basically outlines two kingdoms with opposing mindsets. In simplicity, God's way of life is to give, while on the other hand, Satan's way of life is to take. The dynamics of these two principles forms two sides with a fence in between. Two ways of living with totally different outcomes in the final analysis. I was raised in a Christian home with loving parents. This gave me the blessing of a biblical worldview amongst other lovely things. But in my teens, this started to change. As a young person, around the age of 13, I started to develop the Greener syndrome. We'd just moved to a new neighbourhood. With this move came a new circle of friends. And I started to be exposed to a new worldview, a way of living that I wasn't used to. As I look back, I can plainly see that I was struck with the Greener syndrome. So I jumped the fence for a decade or so and lived the wild side of life. It was like a spell which caused colour blindness and made Satan's way of life look greener. If there's one take-home thought I could share with you from my experience, it would be that Satan's kingdom is full of empty promises. In other words, lies. There is no lasting satisfaction or fulfillment in his way of doing life. Life with God has been so much better because he reminds me of where I come from, the meaning and purpose of life, and what the future holds for me. God's goodness has brought a growing contentment into every space of my being. I'm still a work in progress in regards to the Green syndrome, but I can testify that God is bringing healing to my eyesight, my heart, my mind, and my spirit. Viewer, I would like to ask you today to consider the two sides and to prayerfully seek to identify how do you relate to the Green syndrome. God bless.